He marched into war with pride in his chest and hope in his heart. Every bullet he faced, every sleepless night in the trenches, was fueled by one thought: returning to the woman he loved. He imagined her waiting by the window, praying for his safety, holding on to the promise of his return. But when the war ended and he finally stepped back onto his homeland, the real battle began. The battlefield was no longer filled with gunfire, but with silence. A silence that hid betrayal. For when he walked through his own door, he found not the arms of his bride, but the shadow of another man. A soldier returns from war after years of absence. His boots are worn, his uniform torn, and his eyes carry stories no one dares to ask about. The streets of his hometown feel both familiar and strange, as if time has moved on without him. Children run past, laughing, but he feels like a ghost among the living. Every step toward his old house is heavy with hope and fear. He imagines his bride's smile, the warmth of her embrace, the home he dreamed of in every lonely night at the battlefield. But behind that hope hides a question he cannot silence. Will she still be waiting for him, or has the world he fought for already forgotten him? He carries wounds, not just on his body, but deep in his heart. The scars on his skin are visible, cuts, burns, and the limp in his walk. But the real pain lies inside. Nights filled with gunfire still echo in his mind. He remembers the faces of friends who never made it home, and their voices haunt his silence. Every memory is a weight he cannot put down. Yet the heaviest wound of all is the fear that the woman he left behind may no longer be his. His body aches from war, but his heart aches from doubt. At the door of his house he sees candles lit, but laughter that doesn't belong to him. For years he dreamed of this moment. Walking back through that door, greeted by love, embraced by warmth. The flicker of candles tells him someone is home, someone waiting. But then, the sound cuts through him like a blade. Laughter, a man's laughter, deep, careless, alive. It doesn't match the voice he longed to hear. His hands tremble on the wooden frame, his heart pounding louder than the battles he survived. In that instant, the war he fought feels smaller than the storm rising inside him. Suspense rises. Who is with his bride? His mind races, searching for answers that refuse to come. Could it be a neighbor, offering help in his absence? A family member laughing with her to ease her loneliness? Or could it be another man who has taken his place? Every possibility stabs at him like a hidden knife. He presses his ear to the door, heart pounding, afraid of what truth lies inside. The war outside may be over, but a new battle begins within him. A battle between trust, fear, and the aching question that won't let him breathe. He was just a young man when he left, his heart heavy but his duty clear. His bride stood at the edge of the dusty road, her veil trembling in the wind, eyes filled with both pride and fear. She held his hands for the last time, promising to wait, while he swore to return as soon as the war ended. The kiss they shared was brief, stolen, almost fragile, as if both knew time might never give them another. With every step away from her, the world grew colder, but he carried her smile like a shield against the darkness ahead. That memory became his only light in the years of blood and fire that followed. The war years dragged on like an endless night. Each day was filled with hardship, muddy trenches, empty stomachs, and the constant whistle of bullets overhead. He wrote letters whenever he could, pouring his soul onto paper, telling her how much he missed her, how much he needed her words to survive. But many letters never reached home, lost in the chaos of war. And from her side, no replies came. Days turned into months, months into years, and silence became his only companion. In the stillness of cold nights, when the campfire died, he clutched the memory of her face, but doubt crept in like a shadow. Was she still waiting? or had the world moved on without him? In the darkest hours of battle, when death felt only a breath away, it was not courage or strength that kept him standing. It was the dream of reunion. He pictured her waiting by the window, her hands folded, her eyes searching the horizon for his return. Whenever fear tried to break him, he clung to that image, as if her love was a shield stronger than any armor. He told himself, "One more day. Just survive one more day, and you'll see her again." That hope was the fire in his chest, the reason he rose each morning to face another storm of bullets and blood. Without her, the war would have swallowed him whole. He finally returns, tired, wounded, but hopeful. His body is weak, every step heavier than the last, scars marking the price he paid on distant battlefields. Yet in his eyes burns a fragile light, the belief that love still waits for him. The long roads, the endless nights of pain, all feel worth it now, because each mile brings him closer to her. His uniform hangs loose, torn and faded, but in his heart he wears the memory of their wedding vows, unbroken. Though war has stolen his youth and peace, he walks with a soldier's pride and a lover's hope, ready to reclaim the life he dreamed of every single night away. Shock strikes him like a bullet when he steps through the doorway. The home he built with dreams, the place he carried in his heart through years of war, no longer feels like his. His eyes fall on her, his bride, yet she is not alone. Beside her stands another man, his presence casual, his laughter filling the very walls the soldier once called his own. For a moment, time freezes. His heart pounds louder than the gunfire he survived. Questions race in his mind, but answers refuse to come. He feels the ground slipping beneath his feet, as if the war he fought outside was nothing compared to the war waiting for him here, in the heart of his own home. When his presence fills the room, she freezes. For years she dreamed of this moment, yet now she cannot even meet his gaze. Her hands tremble as she clutches the edge of her dress, her eyes darting away, searching for anything but the man who once held her heart. He speaks her name softly, almost broken, but she turns her face, as if the truth will spill if their eyes ever meet. The silence between them is heavier than war drums, louder than gunfire. It is the silence of guilt, of secrets, of love strained by time and distance. And in that silence, he realizes, she is hiding not from him, but from the truth she cannot bear to say. The soldier walks away, broken but silent. His boots drag against the wooden floor as if each step carries the weight of shattered years. He doesn't shout, doesn't demand answers, because sometimes silence screams louder than words. His heart feels heavier than the pack he carried through battlefields, but now there is no war medal, no honor, no victory to ease the pain. Outside, the night air is cold, yet it burns against his skin. He looks back only once, hoping she might call his name, but the doorway stays empty. With every step into the darkness, he feels not like a soldier returning home, but like a stranger who has no home left. The soldier feels betrayed, as if every sacrifice he made was for nothing. He remembers the nights he bled in the mud, the brothers he buried, the promises he whispered to himself just to survive. All of it was carried on the hope of her love, and now, standing alone, he wonders if he was ever enough. Was he too late? Too broken? Too ordinary to be remembered? The medals on his chest feel empty, worthless, when the one thing he fought hardest to protect slipped away in silence. For the first time, he does not see himself as a hero, but as a man abandoned by the very life he thought he had earned. The community whispers, their voices sharper than knives. In the marketplace, at the well, in the church pews, every tongue carries a different story. Some blame the bride, calling her faithless, a woman too weak to keep her vow. Others lower their voices and shake their heads, pitying the soldier who gave everything to his country only to return to heartbreak. Children stare at him as he passes. Mothers pull them close, and old men mutter about honor and shame. The soldier feels every word pressing against his back, each whisper another stone added to his burden. He fought enemies on the battlefield, but now he realizes the hardest war is the one fought in the eyes of his own people. He tries to rebuild life alone on the edge of town, far from the eyes that judge and the whispers that never stop. With trembling hands, he mends a broken cabin, patching its roof the way he wishes he could patch his heart. Each day he works the soil, cutting wood, drawing water, as if hard labor could wash away the pain of betrayal. The nights are the hardest. Silence stretches long, and loneliness sits heavy beside him. He cooks for one, eats for one, speaks to no one. In the stillness, he wonders if he is building a new beginning or just a prison of his own making. Memories of war and sleepless nights haunt him like shadows he cannot escape. When he closes his eyes, the battlefield returns, the screams of dying men, the thunder of guns, the choking smoke. His body begs for rest, but sleep refuses to come. Hours pass as he lies awake, staring at the ceiling, his mind replaying battles long ended. And when sleep finally takes him, it betrays him with nightmares so real that he wakes drenched in sweat, gasping for breath, clawing at the dark. The doctors call it a soldier's sickness, but he calls it a curse that keeps him trapped between two wars, one fought with weapons and one fought in the silence of his own bed. He cannot rest. His body begs for sleep, but his mind is restless. His hands shake from exhaustion. His muscles ache from long days of work, yet when he lays his head down, peace never comes. Thoughts swirl like a storm, her face, her silence, the man beside her. The weight of betrayal presses harder than his war wounds. He turns from side to side, searching for comfort, but the pillow feels like stone and the night feels endless. Every time he closes his eyes, new fears crawl in. What if she never loved him? What if he fought for nothing? The body longs for healing sleep, but the mind is a battlefield that will not surrender. His health declines, slowly at first, then like a landslide he cannot stop. The sleepless nights leave dark circles under his eyes. His once strong frame now thin and weak. The steady hands of a soldier begin to tremble, and the proud stride that carried him through war turns into a heavy, uneven walk. Food loses its taste, water no longer quenches, and even the sun feels distant, unable to warm him. Neighbors who once admired his bravery now whisper about his hollow face and sunken eyes. He coughs often, his chest rattling like an old drum, each sound reminding him that his body is breaking as surely as his heart. The bride secretly visits him, slipping through the shadows when the town sleeps. She stands by the window of his lonely cabin, watching the man she once called her world fade into sickness. Her hands long to reach for him, her lips ache to speak his name, but guilt ties her tongue. She leaves baskets of food at his door, herbs for his cough, blankets for the cold, then disappears before dawn. Each visit is a battle within her, between love that never died and shame that weighs like chains. She wants to confess, to explain the truth he deserves, but fear whispers that he will never forgive her. And so she chooses silence, even as her silence slowly destroys them both. One evening, weak but restless, the soldier follows the faint sound of voices drifting from his old home. His heart pounds as he peers through the window, expecting to see betrayal carved in shadows. But what he sees shakes him to the core. The man he thought was a rival is not a stranger at all. It is his own brother, worn and broken, thought long dead in the chaos of war. The laughter he once mistook for treachery was the fragile sound of survival, two souls clinging to each other in a world that forgot them. Confusion and shame flood through him. How could love and loyalty twist into suspicion so cruelly? The truth cuts deeper than any battlefield wound. The truth unravels like a storm. The man standing beside his bride is none other than his own brother, the one everyone believed had perished in the fire of war. His face is older, lined with suffering, his body frail from wounds that never fully healed, but his eyes are unmistakable. Memories rush back. The laughter of childhood, the bond of blood, the promises they once made. The soldier's knees weaken as shock battles relief. For years he mourned a brother he thought was gone, carrying grief like a shadow. And now, here he is, alive, breathing, sharing the same home, the same roof, and the same woman's kindness. What once looked like betrayal now twists into something far more complex, and the soldier's heart cannot decide whether to rejoice or to break. While the soldier was away fighting battles on distant fields, his brother stumbled back into town, weak, broken, and barely alive. His body carried scars that told their own story, wounds that refused to heal, and a limp that slowed every step. The townsfolk hardly recognized him. Many believed they were seeing a ghost. With nowhere to go and no strength to survive alone, he found himself at the door of his brother's bride. Out of compassion, she took him in, nursing him with food, medicine, and the warmth of a roof. What began as an act of mercy soon became the center of cruel whispers, painting loyalty and kindness as betrayal. The bride took care of him out of mercy and survival. When he collapsed at her doorstep, pale and trembling, she could not turn him away. His wounds needed tending, his body needed food, and his spirit needed shelter. She fetched water from the well, cooked simple meals, and sat awake through long nights, changing bandages, whispering prayers he might never hear. It was not love that tied her to him, but duty. Duty to humanity, and to the man who shared her husband's blood. In those harsh years, survival meant leaning on whoever remained, and for her, saving his brother was the only way to honor the man she still waited for. Yet, in the eyes of the town, her mercy was twisted into betrayal. Gossip twisted kindness into betrayal. What began as whispered questions soon grew into cruel stories carried from door to door. Neighbors who once praised her loyalty now raised eyebrows at every glance. They saw her fetching water with him, cooking meals for him, sitting beside his bed, and from those fragments they built lies. In their eyes, mercy looked like desire, and compassion looked like disloyalty. No one cared for the truth, because scandal was sweeter than silence. By the time the soldier returned, the tale was already poisoned. His bride painted as faithless, his brother as a thief of trust. What the world chose to see was betrayal, when in reality it was only love's shadow cast in the wrong light. The soldier feels torn between anger, shame, and love. Anger burns in him like wildfire, demanding to know why the truth was hidden from him. Shame clings to his soul for doubting the woman who once promised to wait, and for misjudging the brother he thought was lost forever. Yet beneath it all, love refuses to die. It still pulls him toward her smile, still binds him to the bond of blood that ties him to his brother. His heart becomes a battlefield fiercer than any war he fought, with loyalty and betrayal colliding in every breath. He wonders if forgiveness is weakness, or if holding on to rage will only destroy what little remains of him. His sleep condition worsens, each day dragging him deeper into weakness. Nights bring no rest, only endless tossing and shadows of war haunting his mind. His body begins to betray him, hands trembling, vision blurring, strength slipping away like sand through open fingers. At times he stands to work, but suddenly the world tilts and darkness swallows him whole. He faints in the fields, at the table, even mid-step on the lonely road. Villagers find him collapsed, breathing shallow, as if life itself is abandoning him. The once proud soldier who survived bullets and fire is now being undone by his own body. shutting down piece by piece. At last, the soldier confronts his bride and brother, the storm in his chest no longer containable. His voice shakes, not from weakness but from years of silence breaking apart. He demands the truth, his eyes darting between the woman who once held his heart and the brother he mourned as dead. The room feels heavy, thick with words unsaid. The bride lowers her gaze, her lips trembling, while the brother steps forward, shoulders bent with guilt. Pain, love, and betrayal collide in that moment, and the soldier realizes this battle cannot be fought with fists or guns. This war is of hearts, and the cost of victory may be losing the very people he still longs to keep. Tension hangs in the air, sharp as a knife. Every glance, every breath feels like proof of betrayal, yet also like a plea for understanding. Was it truly disloyalty, or only a cruel misunderstanding shaped by gossip and silence? The soldier's heart pounds, torn between rage and reason. His bride trembles, words caught in her throat, while his brother stands pale, too weak to defend himself. The room feels like a trial with no judge, only raw emotion as witness. In that fragile space, truth waits to be spoken, but fear and pride keep it locked away, leaving the soldier uncertain whether he has lost love forever or if he is moments away from seeing the truth that could save them all. The bride finally breaks, her strength collapsing under the weight of silence. Tears stream down her face as she falls to her knees, her voice trembling like a fragile string. She tells him she never stopped loving him, not for a single day, not for a single breath. She speaks of nights spent waiting by the window, whispering prayers for his safe return. She explains how his brother's broken body arrived at her door, and mercy would not allow her to turn him away. Her hands reach toward the soldier, desperate for him to see past the rumors, past the shadows of doubt, and remember the promise they once made. Every tear that falls is not just sorrow. It is proof of a love that survived even in silence. The brother lowers his head, his voice rough and weak, as if each word costs him breath. He admits that when he returned, he was already half dead, his wounds infected, his strength gone, his hope lost. He tells his brother that without her, he would have been buried in an unmarked grave, forgotten by all. It was she who nursed him through fevers, kept him alive when even he had given up. His eyes glisten as he speaks, not with pride but with shame, knowing how easily their bond was mistaken for betrayal. "I owe her my life," he whispers, "but I never touched what was yours." His words hang in the air, heavy with truth, begging to mend what rumors had torn apart. The soldier feels heavy, as if the weight of his whole life is pressing down at once. Years of war left scars on his body, but mistrust carved deeper wounds in his soul. The sleepless nights return to him now, nights filled with doubt, with visions of her in another man's arms, with the cruel whispers of the town echoing in his ears. Every step, every breath, feels burdened by battles he fought outside and battles he created within. His shoulders slump, not from the sword or the rifle, but from the invisible weight of suspicion and pain. In that moment, he wonders if love can survive under so much darkness, or if he is already too broken to let the light in again. At last, his body gives out, unable to carry the weight any longer. He collapses to the ground, his knees buckling as if the earth itself has claimed him. The old war wounds throb with fiery pain, each scar reminding him of battles he never truly escaped. But it is not only the scars of flesh that break him. It is the endless torment of sleepless nights, the gnawing exhaustion that hollowed him from the inside. His chest tightens, his breath comes shallow, and his hands claw at the dirt as darkness closes in. Around him, voices cry out, but he can no longer tell if they are real or just echoes of the battlefield. For the soldier who survived war, it is the quiet war within that finally brings him to his knees. The bride stays by his side through sickness, refusing to leave even for a moment. She wipes the sweat from his brow when fever burns, and holds his trembling hands when nightmares shake him awake. Every breath he struggles for she counts as her own, whispering prayers into the night as if her voice alone could anchor him to life. The townspeople may still judge, but she no longer cares. Her world has narrowed to the fragile rise and fall of his chest. Day after day, she nurses him with the same devotion she once gave his brother. Only now it is mixed with tears, with guilt, and with an undying love she can no longer hide. In his weakness, she finds her strength, choosing to carry the burden he can no longer bear. The doctor examines him carefully, his face grave as he delivers the truth. He explains that the soldier is suffering from what he calls soldier's sleep, a strange condition born from years of war, trauma, and endless nights without rest. It is not a normal illness, but a cruel disorder where the mind refuses peace even when the body collapses. The soldier drifts between waking and sleeping, trapped in a haze of memories and nightmares. His body shuts down in protest, forcing him into long, unnatural sleep, as if trying to heal wounds the soul cannot mend. The doctor warns that some never wake again, their minds lost in the battlefield of their dreams. His words hang heavy in the room, filling it with fear and the desperate hope that love alone might be the cure. He sleeps for days, drifting in a place between life and death. His chest rises and falls so faintly that at times she fears the next breath will never come. The room grows quiet around him. Candles burn low, the world outside keeps moving. But he lies still, locked in a battle no one else can see. In his sleep he murmurs fragments of war, cries out the names of fallen brothers, and sometimes whispers her name as if reaching for her through the darkness. The line between waking and dreaming blurs, his body refusing to return, yet not ready to let go. For those who keep watch, every sunrise feels like both a blessing and a curse, for they never know if it will bring him back or take him away forever. The bride never leaves his side, proving her love in silence and sacrifice. Day and night she sits by his bed, her hand resting on his, as if her touch alone could guide him back. She feeds him spoonfuls of broth when he stirs, wipes the sweat from his brow when fever rises, and hums old songs they once shared in better days. She ignores the whispers of the town, the accusing eyes at the marketplace. None of it matters now. All that matters is him, the man she vowed to love in sickness and in health. With each passing day, her devotion becomes clearer, stronger, louder than any rumor. Even when his eyes remain closed, her presence speaks to him, reminding his wounded soul that he was never abandoned. After endless days of silence, the soldier finally wakes, weak but alive. His eyelids flutter open like heavy doors long shut, and for the first time, light touches his weary eyes. His body feels fragile, every bone aching, every breath shallow, yet he is alive. The first thing he sees is her, his bride, sitting by his side with tears streaming down her face, her hand still wrapped around his. He tries to speak, but only a whisper escapes, and she silences him with a smile, as if words are no longer needed. In that moment, he realizes she never left, not even when the world doubted her. Life has returned to him, not through medicine or rest, but through the unshaken love that refused to let him go. Lying there, frail yet alive, the soldier finally realizes that love needs trust, not suspicion. He remembers the nights he wasted drowning in doubt, the cruel whispers he allowed to poison his heart, and the pain it caused them both. Love was never meant to survive on fear or questions. It could only endure through faith. He sees now that her loyalty was tested not in grand gestures, but in the quiet sacrifices she made when no one was watching. In her eyes, he no longer sees guilt, only devotion. And in that moment, he understands that mistrust was the true enemy, more dangerous than any bullet. To love her fully, he must lay down suspicion and choose trust, the only weapon strong enough to heal them both. With tears in his eyes, the soldier reaches for his bride's hand, the bitterness in his heart finally melting away. He forgives her, not because she is perfect, but because her love proved stronger than the shadows of doubt. She breaks into sobs, pressing her forehead to his, grateful that their bond has survived the storm. Then his gaze turns to his brother, who stands quietly at the edge of the room, burdened with guilt. For a long moment, silence lingers between them, heavy with all the years lost. But instead of anger, the soldier opens his arms. His brother steps forward, and they embrace. Two men scarred by war, reunited not just by blood, but by forgiveness. In that embrace, the wounds of mistrust begin to heal, and what once felt broken slowly becomes whole again. In the end, his story carries a lesson deeper than any wound of war. Battles on the field may break the body, but it is doubt that shatters the heart. Guns and bullets can be survived, but suspicion quietly kills the very love that gives life meaning. The soldier learned that true strength was not only in facing enemies, but in choosing trust over fear, faith over doubt. His forgiveness healed more than his marriage. It healed his family, his spirit, and the years of pain that once held him captive. War had left scars, but love rebuilt what was broken. And so his life became a living truth. War may break bodies, but doubt breaks hearts, and only trust has the power to heal both.